Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Carry On Friends, the Caribbean American experience. And my guest for this episode is Aria, a former fellow
Woo!
podcaster.
Mm.
And I mean, we have to catch up on all the things. Aria, welcome to the podcast. How you feeling?
Thanks for having me. I am doing so well. A lot has changed since we met 6 years ago, so I'm just excited.
All right, we're going to get into that 6 years ago. But why don't you tell the people them which Caribbean country you represent
Yes,
and the
yes, yes,
work you
yes.
do?
I'm from Grenada, born and raised. I moved from Grenada when I was about 13, 14, so high school. So I'm just a blend of all cultures, but I like they say Grenadians are some of the most patriotic people you will meet. So I am very patriotic about my country, and that's just where I'm from.
Wonderful. It all will come America same time. I mean, different years, but the
Different
same
years, but like we
age.
have the same like the teenager experience. And I heard that in one of your episodes about like your brother who he came when he was 2 and my brother came when he was 3, and like his experience and my experience and how we defined it is I was just like, "Oh yeah. We're living like the same life, just different generations, I guess."
Yes. And that's why I created the model because a lot of us have this experience like within one family. All of us have that relationship with the home country and culture differently.
Yeah.
But that is why I'm so proud that, we get here. But we're going to
Exactly.
back up and tell the people them. So I met Aria at Podfest
Mhm.
2020. Before that, the Caribbean podcast directory is still up, even if shows have expired. For me, it's
Love that.
important to tell people that we've been here and we're still here, right? And we featured you on one of the profiles. It's still up on the website. And
Good.
then what next? What happened? Tell me, fill me
Yes.
in.
Oh my gosh, what has happened? Okay, so I would say my podcast is Colored Lens Podcast, and it is still available. It's still up. There's still some good episodes. You're always more than welcome to like listen and enjoy it. But personally, for me, I pod faded. I pod faded because I think what had happened was that when I started Colored Lens, it was very like the reason why I started Colored Lens is because I wanted to have a platform to really amplify my voice. And that time in my career, I wasn't really in a creative career. I was more in an administrative role. So I really just needed a creative outlet. So it was that format of release for me to say the least. And then as time went on and life started lifing a little bit, I did get a position that gave me that creative outlet. Like I'm in marketing now, and I feel like that's something that fuels my creativity every single day. So like that was one of the reasons I felt like I got a creative outlet at work, and then just the time and resources. I was a one band team, and which is why I'm always shouting out the podcasters like you, Carrie Ann, who's still going and still going strong, because as a one band team to produce a successful podcast that's keep going for seasons and years and all of that, I just realized the juice wasn't worth the squeeze anymore. And I found my passion in a new space, to say the least. So it's still available, you can still listen, but and the industry changed on me. I will say the industry changed. The way people consume podcasts changed. And you know what it really was, Cariana? You know what it really, really, really was? I want to say it was the pandemic, because I was someone who consumed podcasts a lot personally when I was commuting to work. Like the commute is when I consumed that form of media. And because we didn't have that commute anymore, and I wasn't even an avid podcast listener myself, I felt like I just assumed or just felt like the industry was changing. It started trending. Bigger celebrities have podcasts on YouTube. I just felt like I was the smallest fish in a big pond. So I was like, all right, the juice is just not worth it for me at this period of my life. So I faded.
I love this. This was not the intent, but I love it. And I think it goes into something else that we'd want to talk about. So for anyone who's listening who doesn't know what pod fade is when you just stop podcast. You take away yourself, as we say, and you you
Yup.
you you
Just
ghosted.
I
You're just like,
ghosted. Yup.
and she just stopped recording. And what Aria described is not unique to her. Pod fading was something that happened before the pandemic, and it accelerated during and after the pandemic, because you had a lot of people who started podcasts during the pandemic,
Yes.
and then they fell off after, because there's a sexiness and there's an appeal to podcasting, but as Aria pointed out, it's a lot of work
Lot of
to
work, y'all. A lot.
produce and execute a podcast. And yes, the industry was changing. I mean, at the beginning of 2019, particularly, when a particular streaming platform, which I shall not name, was giving out celebrities one bag of money to the podcast, I think that ushered in a large group of celebrity podcasts. And so,
Mhm. Mhm.
tried and true independent podcasters, grassroots podcasters like you and I, we kind of felt the pressure,
Yes.
and like you said, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. There were moments where I was like, yeah, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, but I know that this is my outlet. So for you,
I
you
agree.
found another outlet. This is
Yup.
still my outlet for things I want to talk about with culture and my creativity. It's my learning space. And I had to pivot a couple times, because I've said it on the
Really?
podcast. I was ready to quit. And I had to shift and, reframe expectations for myself and goals for myself in light of the new landscape I'm operating in.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you share that. I'm
Yeah,
glad
but
you share
Carrie,
that.
I love that you said that it's your cultural outlet, because
Hmm.
here's the thing. When I created Colored Lens, I felt like it was my industry outlet because more background. I had studied television, radio. I had really wanted to get more into like the media production space of things. So it was like a podcast designed to talk about the media industry. But I felt like the passion that I'm doing now is my culture outlet, because it's like I just have to be so ingrained with literally who I am that like I found my cultural creative outlet with what I'm doing now. And that felt too much like work. And it's like, well, I'm already getting paid to do my work, so I don't need to do
Ding, ding,
more
ding,
work.
ding,
Yup, that's
ding.
what it
That
is.
is what it has always been for me. So when everyone was like,
Yes.
oh, um, they want the side hustle, I'm like, there's a compartmentalization with this podcast that's very important to me. My job is, I don't want my job to give me this. I want me and
Yes.
you and the people who come on here to give me this, right? Because no job will ever give me the
Mhm,
variety and the diversity of guests that will come
mhm.
on the show. And so that's
Exactly.
has always been important for me. And like you said, I didn't want to find a job that made what I'm doing at the podcast, I feel like I'm leaving work to come to work, right? I
Yes,
wanted it to
exactly.
feel very different, because they're two different domains. So
Yep.
you buzz that bell. That's
Yep, that's
exactly
what it
why.
was. So it's like I pod faded y'all, but it was like, you grow, you learn, you just learned. I just learned. That's it.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Exactly.
So where are you now? I mean,
Where am
no,
I
but tell the
now?
people them, where are you now and where you're focusing on in terms of your
Yeah.
cultural creative outlet?
Oh, where am I now in terms of my cultural creative outlet? Well, you said where am I now, and I felt like I wanted to disclose my location, but I feel like I should because I said born and raised in Grenada, went to high school in Brooklyn, New York, went to college upstate New York, came back, moved to New York, but now I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm down south. So a lot has changed, and even in terms of like my location and how that affects my like everyday living, because we all know city living and southern living, two different experiences. But my cultural creative outlet now is that I say that to say once I had moved to North Carolina, I felt like I was able to get a more slower pace in the sense that it reminded me of home in a slightly. And even when my dad came to visit, he would say, "Oh, it's just a modernized Caribbean." Like the more greenery that it has, the quieter pace, the not hustle and bustle. Like it gave me, it could never I could never compare it to an island really, but it gave me like a little piece of what it was like to like live at home. And I say that once I moved here, I was able to like really take a step back, reflect, and focus on my health and my wellness. And I noticed that, like, even living down south, like, I don't have access to the Jamaican spot. I don't have access to going and get a roti. I can't go and get doubles. Like, I can't go get those things unless I make it myself. So, like, what had happened for me is I found a way to blend a lot of the foods that I was raised on and I just simply just want, and embed it in a way that it still felt healthy, it still felt good for me, and it helped me shed a few pounds. Like, I've been really on a fitness journey, a health journey, a wellness journey, and like looking back at 2023 to now 2026, it's like amazing how far I've gone. So that's where I've been.
You know, what's so interesting, we started off the podcast talking about you listening to me talking about me moving as a teenager and your brother. And that was lens one of CDEM, Caribbean
Ah,
Diaspora Experience Model. What you explained is lens two, where your geography and your motivation determines your drive to connect to culture, because I lived in the Midwest, right? And
oh,
so when you're not in a major city center like the New York tri-state area, or maybe, you have Jersey, Connecticut, Boston, wherever,
yeah,
when you move to these other places, if you are motivated, you draw closer to culture because
that's
you don't
true.
have it as readily accessible, because that's what you just
You
said. It's
don't. I have to go search for it. I have to drive so far for it. But like you make it
exactly.
changes you. It changes you.
Exactly. And so what I found, because of my own experience, when you don't live to places like New York or other places, you are more intentional about maintaining your connection to culture, because
Yeah.
you don't have it around readily. So you sure you're connecting with the right people, or you're more focused on like what you're doing, to stay connected. And that's what I found. And I found that people who live in like places that don't have like the luxury of New York or
Just go
Florida.
around the corner. Just get anything you need.
Exactly. I feel like in some ways they're more connected to culture because it's not ambient. Like when you're in New York, you
Yes.
step out, it's
It,
everywhere. You don't have
it's
to think
everywhere.
about it. You
Nope.
don't have to think about it. But when you're not around it, when I mean, you have to make an effort, and you make the effort, and it's so intentional. So which is why
Yes.
you're talking and I was like, thank you, Lord. You
That's
gave me the
exactly what it
vision.
is, but you're right, and I feel like because I had to be more intentional, and naturally I became more intentional with what I was eating and, like, how I could still create the same flavor palette, but my resources are slightly different, and it's like, "Okay, but wait, now that my resources are different, but, like, I'm really craving, let's say I'm really craving Rasta pasta or something like that, or I'm really craving jerk chicken and I might not have the exact same things that I need, but I found a way to still give me that essence or that feelings of home with the resources that I had. So yeah.
That is lovely. I mean, I love when it comes together, because the people I'm experience is real. And because I've lived in Brooklyn, New York, and also in the Midwest, I find that when I find these connective stories where other people are experiencing or re-experiencing their culture a different way, I get very excited, because we just open up a whole new world of
That's so
storytelling
true.
and
Yeah.
all these other things. So
We've all lived such similar lives and we don't even realize it. Like it's especially for
exactly.
Caribbean people living in America, like and this is exactly why your podcast exists because we all have such similar experiences in a way that it's it's like a psychological aspect or something. Like there's something there. It's like, yeah, I've been there, I've been there, I've been there. And that's why community is so
I
important.
mean, we are community driven, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
It's just how I don't have a better term, but we really move in packs. And when we move away, from a pact or a group, it's, and I mean, as humans naturally too, you have to find that way
Yes.
to connect. And it's just so important. So let's go back to, you move and you decide that, okay, you feel for some food, you can't get the food, and now you are making the food. But you said something before. You stepped back and you were reflecting. Was it part of this whole introspective life that most people were experiencing post COVID, that they're now reflecting on, what is life? Because I think a lot of us became very aware that life, I mean, we know life short, but life really
Yes.
can be short,
Yes. Yup.
right?
Yup. 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 Yup.
So
Yup.
talk to me about how this came about.
How that reflection came about. I mean, I'm pausing because pausing means I'm thinking. Let's see. What was it? The quiet allowed me to really do some inner work with myself and really like not hide anymore. Like I feel like living in New York, a lot of the things, everything when you go out with friends, I felt like was always like surrounded with like food or parties or yeah, going to a party or going to a restaurant. Like there's not really much to do in New York as a Caribbean woman living in New York. Like that was the lifestyle. You go to a party or you about to go to a restaurant. So I say that to say, like, I felt like because I was more in a slower pace and I was really able to like literally look at myself in the mirror, it wasn't that I didn't like myself. I wouldn't say I've never really felt like I was like, oh my gosh, I don't like myself. But I will say like the pandemic weight had hit, and I know I'm not the only person that gained weight in the pandemic. A lot of people did, but I felt like the pandemic weight had hit me, and it really stuck on me in a way where I was like, I want to change this. I want to change this. Like I've always been someone who've gone to the gym, but it wasn't working. So I stayed consistent. I stayed consistent. I stayed consistent until one day, like, and I feel like we always hear these things like, oh yeah, like it's the kitchen, it's the kitchen, it's the kitchen. The kitchen is where you make abs. But it wasn't until one day I was like, look, I grew up making, I don't know about you, but I grew up on a Sunday making, like, do you do Sunday food? Like you cook your Sunday meal.
Yeah, so again, Aria, you go chew me Caribbean diaspora experience model food, and I talked about cultural anchor, food being a cultural anchor, and behaviors, right? So
Yup.
on Saturdays in Jamaica, we cook soup for
Yup.
dinner, and
That's
then
right.
Sunday morning we have nice big breakfast, dumpling,
Mm-hmm.
yam, and
Mm-hmm.
our boiled banana before we go to church, and
And
then
then your
in the
Sunday meal.
evening rice and peas and whatever else. So all the things. So
Yep.
yes,
Yep,
we
yep,
we
yep. So I
there.
say that to say, like, I felt like I was that same Sunday that I grew up constantly, making your Sunday food. I was like, what if I use that same time to try this idea of meal prep? Like, take that same time that I was baking to make this Sunday meal that might last me until Tuesday, maybe. Sometimes you might be pushing it if you say Wednesday, because in our culture, we're like, we can't eat food for too long, like da 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 da. So I was like, what if I took that same time and effort and put it into meal prep? And I kid you not, it wasn't until the gym was still, I felt like I was doing the gym the same way. I was not, that didn't change. But it wasn't until I started spending more time with myself in the kitchen and having a blast with it, like I'm having fun, is when I felt like I woke up one day and was like, whoa. And it didn't happen overnight, but it felt that way because of the consistency. So I say to say that's what changed.
Again, audience, I promise you, she's telling our story, and I'm like, ding, lens this, lens that, right? But I I know what you mean because because of my schedule, work,
Yeah.
kids, all
Yeah.
of this, the gym is not an option for me. And so I've always said it's always going to be food. and
Exactly.
mindfulness when it comes to food, right?
Mhm.
Planning,
Mhm.
because me know when we not plan, a pure rice we dey eat because it's
When you
easy.
eat
Rice
anything if
and
you don't plan,
something.
anything.
Yes. Right? And so planning and being more mindful, right? And
Mhm.
really addressing this behavior that we learned, particular in the Caribbean, that you have to clean off your plate when you eat. You don't get up from around the table
That is
until
woo! The trauma with that one, I had to literally, I didn't mean to cut off your train of thought, but I had to literally teach myself, look, your body is not a trash can. You do not need to force yourself to finish your plate. If you are full, you are full. You can put it away and come back to it, or you can throw it out. Your body's not a trash can. And that in itself, that's a big thing because we think it's the food, yeah, but like I'd be lying to you if I told you like I eat food that's not healthy, but it's the quantity. It's about listening to your body. If I have my nice big chicken roti, I'm Aria Trinidadian, so I love me my roti and my doubles. I'm sorry, but I love my oil long too. But I say that to say, if I have my roti and my bus up shot, I'ma still enjoy it. You just have to know when to stop. If you're full, just stop. If it lasts me lunch and dinner, that's okay, but just stop. And that in itself is a huge thing that we don't know because our parents tell us, yeah, you have to finish your plate. There's people in Africa
it's,
hungry.
we got the same line. We got the same line. There's people in Africa or people that starve down the road
Africa
this
is
way that
rich.
don't have
There's
the,
parts of Africa that's rich.
they used to tell you know much starving children out there, and so you just just clean, make sure there's not one grain of rice that leave on the
Yup,
plate.
because that's such, and it's like you have to, I think, and which is why Prep and Ting was born because I felt like I needed to I personally had to rewire my brain and learn things like eating habits, learn things like understanding the nutrition label, understanding what type of oils might be bad versus good for you. And we don't know that because if you Google, like right now, if I'm like, all right, I want to lose 10 pounds. And you Google diets, to me, like everything's bland, everything's boring. It doesn't tie back to the type of foods that we would actually want to eat and want to see. So I was like, look, let me start like literally writing down. I always got a pen and paper. Start writing down everything I'm eating and everything I'm learning and place it back so that that way, like the decade that I felt like I was chasing, because I felt like I was chasing this gym fitness journey since college days. So that has to be more than a decade. So I'm like, let me just give y'all everything that I've learned because I've kept doing. I did the keto, I did the put Vicks on your stomach, I did the army diet, I did anything that was a diet to lose weight. Your girl did it. Your girl did it. And I was like, you know what? It there's this trauma level to it too, where it's like you're taught that you have to finish your plate. I was also raised with a mom who was always like in a diet culture as well. So I felt like that wasn't healthy for me. Like I would always hear about her being on a diet, or she's always on a diet, or she'll be on a diet for 2 weeks, or 1 minute she's only eating chicken and vegetables and da 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 da. So I really had to do a lot of self-work. And I feel like there's a lot of people, we've learned that in our community, we've all heard the same lines and the same stories. So I'm like, let me share what I've had to relearn for myself.
It's very interesting because a couple years ago I had her name is escaping me. Is that decade I'm in life now? I think it's Althea. She had
Uh-huh.
paleo, and she's Guyanese American. And she basically talked about how the food that we grew up with was healthy for us. Is just that when we come to, we're in an American culture, when you think of yam or these other things, it's normally thought of like that's too much starch or too much this or too much
Good
that.
point.
And so, I'm wondering if in your journey, did you discover traditional Caribbean meals that in a traditional American diet culture, you wouldn't want to touch this. But your discovery might have found like, actually, no, wait, this is good for me. As long as
Yeah.
I'm not clean off the plate, this is good for
Exactly.
me.
Exactly. So no, I hear what she was saying and I feel like I don't I might agree to disagree or slightly disagree in a sense that like we we're growing up in the island, we don't realize how much good healthy food that we are around. Like we have such great fruits that I cannot even get here. I When last I had a sugar apple, I cannot tell you. We have such good fruits, we have great provisions, and like those things are actually good for you. The problem is, what I really want to say, the huge problem is sometimes is how we prepare those meals. Like I could enjoy breadfruit, but if I decided to take the breadfruit and fry it deep in canola oil, or what's the other one, vegetable oil, I took away the breadfruit nutrients. The nutrients that a lovely piece of provision have, I just stripped it all away because I just covered it in this seed oil that's going to take forever, if ever, to leave my body and break down, because those things are highly processed. So I say that to say we have good food, but we all could use some education on how to prepare them. So like I still eat what I want to eat, but it's really the ingredients that you have to put into it that can help make sure that it's still good for your body. So yeah, I love, like, for us Grenadians, our biggest thing is saltfish sauce, which is basically just saltfish and provisions. I love saltfish sauce. I love it. I still eat it. There's ain't nothing wrong with it. Provisions is not too much starch. It's not gonna Provisions is not too much starch. Provisions is not gonna make you gain weight. You just listen to your body and be mindful of how you're preparing it. Let's not deep fry it in canola oil, because then we just lost its whole nutritional value. But it's still good for you.
Hmm. What do you think we're not saying out loud about when it
Mm.
comes to Caribbean food and cuisine and control
What we're not saying
or
out loud, yeah.
healthy eating? What are we not saying?
I want to say I kind of the same thing I just said. We preparing it bad. Like, and don't get me wrong, like we're prepared. Like there's sometimes when you prepare something, we have incredible seasonings and spices, and that's another thing. The Caribbean has amazing seasoning and spices, but we're ruining some really good dishes by killing it in the process element. So like, once again, it's the oils, or maybe we're putting too much heavy cream, maybe we're putting too much dairy. Like we're killing some of the things that is actually so good for us in the preparation stage. That's what I really want to say. That's it. Or we're overkilling it with salt, like too much salt. Like salt should be the last thing we put, not the first thing we put, because there's so much other ways to get flavor and spice outside of salt.
I mean, I hear you, but that's also easier said than done because
Of
those
course.
habits are also
Of,
cultural.
of
You know,
course.
they are cultural. And maybe this could be a stretch, but I have a feeling it may not. I remember somebody gave a joke and said, "Why you do this way?" Them no know. It's because somebody else before them prepared it this
Yeah,
way.
it's
And
cultural.
so it's not only just cultural, but it's preserving how grandma, who's no longer here, did it. And it's that connection with that person. So sometimes I think it's easier said than can actually be done
Yeah,
on
that's
some of
true.
those things. And two, one of my challenges, when it comes to helping people to eat healthier is we're not in the best economy. So why me I go buy this aisle here over that the aisle there, and you buy what you can afford in your budget.
That's a good
So
point. Yeah, yep. You're bringing up all great points. Okay, so let me touch on the economy one, because I feel like that is very important, and I feel like that's the reason why I'll speak for myself. But like sometimes, you might grab more canned foods, or you grab things that you feel like you could preserve longer. Maybe it's not even necessarily canned, but it's food that you could preserve longer, and that is totally understandable. And I think the reason we do that is because, once again, we haven't even educated ourselves that there is ways to preserve your fruits and vegetables way longer than it is in the grocery store. Like, the way it's packaged in the grocery store is actually packaged for it to rot and spoil because they want to get you to go back shopping. So once again, it's a huge like learning, which is why I've built the community, because it's like a huge learning that has to come with it. So I could have green onions, carrots, anything like that can last me weeks. My salad can last me weeks. My cucumber, zucchini, those things can last. My romaine lettuce, it lasts me weeks because I've learned how to actually preserve it. Like, there's techniques to that that is not taught because they want to get us back in that grocery store, or they want us to think that we really can't afford it. So that's the one thing I will say. And then I want to go back to like your point of like, you want to keep your tradition. Like, if this is the way your grandmother made something, or that's the way you was learned to make a specific dish, of course, like, it's a part of your culture. I totally get that. But I'm saying but because sometimes you have to choose your battle, or you have to know life is a balance. Like, look, Thanksgiving, when I'm making my Thanksgiving spread, I prep and ting all those recipes, that's out the window. Like, for me, tradition, flavor, Christmas, anything healthy, prep and ting, that's out the window because flavor and tradition is the priority to me then. But life is a balance. Like, if fitness is a priority for you, or weight management or weight loss is a priority for you, then you have to realize that it's a balance between your culture and your health. So sometimes you got to choose what you know is slightly better for you.
Yeah, slightly better, but I like what you said. Like, when it's Thanksgiving and stuff, you're not gonna necessarily prioritize the healthy food. Not that you throw it out the window, and I think that's important, right? I
Yes.
remember through work we had access to a nutritionist, right? And
Nice.
so when that the app they got that the program they gone, but we did it's long story. It was through the insurance company, blah blah blah. And
Okay.
I remember having the conversation, and I was really good with my eating habits. Like she said that what I ate was healthy. My
Oh.
challenge was, she said, I'm a grazer, because when you're at
Mm.
work, I just like I'm munching on little things. I'm not necessarily sitting and eating a full meal. So when
Mm.
you're a grazer, you're actually eating more because it's a little bit here, a little bit there.
Yes.
And so, but she's like, just do like set times, and that was very helpful and very insightful, because I didn't think of myself as a grazer, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I would say to her, like, I've been eating good, but I just feel like I recognized in that moment, because of going through that program, that whenever I was about to have my period, I would want to eat the unhealthiest food. And she said to me something that I did not expect the nutritionist to say. She said, "Eat it." You know,
That's true. You
she
have to
said,
listen to your body.
"Eat it." She's like, it's what your body is craving, and if the more you resist it, it's like the
It's gonna
worst it's
be.
going to be.
She's
So
right.
just eat it. Just eat a small portion of it, and once that satisfies your craving, you will find that, okay, now you go back and eat your healthy stuff. But when you are denying that craving, it amplifies even more. And she said you might overeat. And that was the most insightful thing. So it reminded me of what you just said. When it's Thanksgiving, we don't eat or we don't eat.
Exactly. No, and that's a good point for women too. And that's why, like, for me, I always say, like, just be consistency does not mean you're showing up 100% every single
No,
day,
absolutely
because
not.
I would be lying. I literally had, well, we have Bojangles down south, which is like what, like Popeyes, KFC. Like,
Hmm.
I had Bojangles this week because I had a craving for it. Like, I really, really, really wanted it. If I really want something, it's always better to like silence the craving or satisfy the craving than like ignore it, and then you just create an even worse battle down the line. So like,
You start binging like, I want to eat
exactly,
everything.
exactly. Life is a balance, but if you choose good habits majority of the time, you'll see the results, because there's like, you'll see if you be intentional majority of the time, it'll make a difference. It
It
will.
it,
But like
it does, because I've
life happens.
observed it. I've observed it.
Yeah.
Like,
Good.
there are moments where it doesn't eliminate the craving. You just realize that it's it 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 varies in intensity.
Yes.
So you're like, wait, me never have a really bad craving, and
Yeah.
so it varies, maybe month to month or whatever. But it was being more intentional about what am I eating, what am I using to to
Said it.
eat and fill myself. So that's I think that was important to say, that we're not expected to be 100% good
No,
on
that does
whatever
not
you are
that does
doing.
not exist. Don't let and
That
I feel like
don't work.
especially in a social media world where like you're trying to get inspiration from what you see on a daily basis, it's so easy to think like you're I don't know, you follow your favorite holistic person, your favorite wellness person, your favorite fitness person, whatever, and they make it seem like every single day, 365
Lie.
days, like I'm always pumped and I'm always this and what I eat in a day. Oh, please. That's just one good day that they recorded and showed y'all. Like life is a balance, but if you try your best to make good choices majority of the time, it'll work out. So I feel like intentional eating, like you hit the nail on the head. Intentional eating is really the key to success. You can have a meal that's not healthy or like not even quotes, it's just simply not healthy. But you listen to your body. You're mindful of your portion because you there's a and the thing is America, that's a good segue. I feel like America portion is so big. I personally feel like, and I say that to say, like, when I moved here, the portion of food that I was consuming was so different than the portion of food I was raised with. And even when I go back home to this day, like I have a friend when we go for carnival, she would always tease and say, Aria always hungry because like the servings of what they would sell, like their servings of like chicken and chips, like that's a big thing for us during carnival season versus the servings that I would get in America. I'm like, that's it. That's the fish and chips. That's it. That's it. Like the servings is so different living in America that I feel like portion is a big thing that sometimes we're not mindful. And that's the reason why so many of us come from the Caribbean and blow up. I blew up because our portions significantly changed. Like go order food at Applebee's or anything one of the and you'll see a big plate of meal. Like they don't serve that. Not
Mm-mm.
that big.
Yeah, yeah. You said the same thing. Come here, it's like, whoa, it's a lot of food. And then,
Yes, like, oh, but then
hmm
you get used to it because you got
yeah,
used to the portions.
yeah,
It's like they and I get it. And it's like you sometimes you want your big portion because I mean you spend your hard earned money, you're glad to see this nice big portion of food. But like I said, it doesn't mean ain't nothing wrong with a to-go box, ain't nothing wrong with your little goodie bag, ain't nothing wrong. It's your food, and you don't have to throw it out. You could go back to it. Go back to it. There's a different. There's lunch. There's dinner. Go back to it for breakfast if you want, but just listen to your body. When you're full, you're full. And I think sometimes we don't listen, and the reason we don't listen to is most times we're eating while we're watching TV. Who I'm guilty. You got to wait for that. I have to get that Netflix episode ready before I can start to eat. Or you're eating and you're scrolling so you're not even in tune with what your body is saying. You're so in munch mode. I also had another person once told me like why are we shoveling our food? Like we don't even realize it, but before you could even finish swallow, you already have the next bite ready. It's like you don't need to
mm,
shovel your food. You can be intentional. You take your bite, you take it, enjoy it, digest, then you scoop your next piece and you enjoy it. And that way you realize like, whoa, I'm actually full. Like
mm-hmm,
we don't listen. We don't
mm-hmm.
listen because we're caught up or like, you have things going on. Like you got to eat quick because you got to go back to work or like the kids doing this is that like you're so like go that we're not realizing that everything we need is right within us.
Right. All
Yeah.
right. So as we wrap up, I want to go back to the beginning, right? So you left the city, you slow down because that's what the geography called for.
Yep, yep,
You
yep.
reconnected to your culture, particularly food. What have you discovered in rekindling this relationship with food and culture that um, you either missed or didn't remember because you moved here so long ago, or it's newly discovered?
Oh, what have I rediscovered that I missed or newly rediscovered? That I would say that access to our food is a privilege.
Mm,
I would really say that access to authentic Caribbean food is a privilege depending on a geographical location. Like we've had that conversation. Like the cities where there's more of us, like it might have an easier access. But for me, like it has made me appreciate traveling on vacations or going to Caribbean islands. Like last year alone, I went back home, I've been to Trinidad, and then like I went Carousel. So like it gives you this like extra appreciation for every country's local food or staple food and dishes. Like I have a blast. I treat it as a food tour because it's a privilege. Or like I used to tease at my dad who would come back with a suitcase full of fish, and
listen,
he
that's life.
that's
That
you
listen,
exactly.
listen.
And I was like,
When
a suitcase full of fish. Now I'm like me. Give
yep,
me, I'm doing the same thing because it's you don't have certain foods of easily available to you, and it's like it's so we have such good food that we don't even appreciate until we no longer have access to it.
absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, from the year was not, and I've been going back to Jamaica. I have a bag, and that bag only
You
carry food. Like,
you see?
like that's the food bag.
That's
Period.
the food back, exactly. And for me, so like when I go Grenada, I'm taking fish. I'm bringing breadfruit, I'm bringing lobster, and I'm bringing all of our spices, like certain spices you're just not gonna get that. I get ground turmeric, I get my ground cinnamon, I get my nutmeg. I bring all those things up. When I go Trinidad, I feel like I bring a lot of more like green seasonings,
Mhm.
like they're shadow benny, their pimento seeds. So like I felt like it's so slept on to think about the different flavor palettes each island brings and how like I've just appreciated it more. I'm like, yep, everywhere I go, I gotta bring a little bit of something to bring it back into my kitchen because I don't have full access to that. So I just appreciate it
Wonderful.
more. We
Yeah,
have
yeah,
great food. We have great
absolutely.
food.
We sure do. I
We sure
listen.
do.
When we reach Jamaica or we touch down at the airport, yeah man, we'll go for the cook
I
shop.
need Jamaica's on my list this year. I have to reach. Have to reach.
Me go to cook shop. Like cook shop reach food.
Yeah.
That's it. Every time. Every time in
Okay.
my the neighborhood I grew up every time.
Oh,
Because for me going home is about food. It's the food
it
and
is.
beach. That's it.
Yep. Food and
It's
beach. Yep.
food and beach. That's what it
I
is for me.
I absolutely agree. It's food beach, and then for me, carnival because I like to go carnival season.
Mm,
I like my carnival. I do, but food and beach, yeah, especially woof, especially when I go Trinidad, I feel like I'm on a. I literally because for me Trinidad is like I'm the tourist. I'm not home. Grenada, I'm
mm.
home. Trinidad, I feel like I'm a tourist. I'm like I'm on a food tour. Give me everything. Like every day I'm eating something new. Every day I'm trying something new. Well, not new anymore because I've had it, and it's like this is just like you don't realize that we have great food. I don't think Caribbean food is not unhealthy. I'm not saying Caribbean food is unhealthy. I just think we're not mindful of our portions. We're not listening to when our bodies are full and perhaps our bodies could use a little bit more movement. Like yes, you might not be able to go to the gym every day, but
No, I
you're
get my walking in. Like
you
so
get your
I
walk
mean,
exactly. You get
yeah.
your movement in, like
Yeah man.
movement. You move in a way that you can genuinely enjoy because at the end of the day, not everybody's even going to enjoy the gym, but you might realize you enjoy, working out at home. You enjoy going on your walks. You joined a hiking club. You join something like just get your body moving because it's so easy for us to get caught up with the mundane of life, work, taking care of loved ones, sleep, repeat. Or
Yeah.
chores, work, taking care of loved ones, chores, sleep, repeat all over again, that we don't realize, like, look, you're the greatest gift. Like, you have to take care of you. You come first. Today or tomorrow, if you fall down, that job is going to replace you in 2.5 seconds.
Mm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
going to replace you like a heartbeat. Oh, it was so good. Yeah, she was so great. Rest in peace. Next. Okay. You come first. Like, yes, okay, you have to go to work for 9. You have to drop the kids by 8. Make 30 minutes for yourself. You come first. Today or tomorrow, if you drop down, you cannot be replaced. So
I,
that's really my biggest thing, is like taking care of you.
and it's little things. For instance,
Yes.
there is the building that I work, there's a subway that's like a subway entrance like a few feet from there. I don't even
Mm-hmm.
take that train. I take another train that leave me 2, 3 blocks the other way,
See,
and
movement.
then walk to the other reason why I'm do it the other station, pure homeless people in there. So me avoid it. So me walk.
That makes sense.
But it helps me get the activity, the steps in.
Exactly.
And then when I come home, I live in a two-fare zone. So instead of wait on a bus to go home, me just walk the miles, go
See, there
home.
you
Because
go.
from, like you said, we live a sedentary life,
Yes.
lifestyle. So we have to find every which way to get movement in.
Exactly. And
So
the little things, those little things, and I think that's what we don't realize, because sometimes we get so caught up in like trying to see results overnight, or like trying to chase a specific goal. I don't know, you have, oh, I need to lose 20 pounds in 4 weeks, or this or that. And it's like, it don't work like that.
it don't work.
It's a lifestyle. Like, just develop your daily movement habits plus mindful eating.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna see a difference. That's it. That
100%.
really is the secret. And it's like all those other things is like people just trying to sell you stuff, or like the get quick fix remedies. They do not work. As somebody who tried them, they might work. It might work for a little
For
bit,
a
but you
period of
need to
time, they'll
see.
work for a little bit, but
They'll work for a little bit, but then you gain it right
back,
back. And
back.
that's even
Yeah.
how I feel. Like, I mean, I can't speak for like all of the different, what, the Ozempics and the G1Ps and all of that of the world. Like, I'm sure they're great and they're gonna work. I've just heard conversations of people who are on those things, and it's like it curbs their appetite. And for me, I'm like, but what happens when you get off of it? If your
You can't
appetite
get
is,
off of it.
oh, see?
I mean, you know what? Let me not speak. Coming on, nobody said me
Yeah, no medical advice. I can't speak to it,
yeah,
but for
yeah,
me, I'm
yeah.
always like, I prefer, and I feel like I'm to speak for the birth of Prep and Ting, is that I feel like the food that was created on the ground, that God created for us, the food that we have, like that can help you reach your weight loss and weight management goals, versus this product in a shot or a pill or whatever, because we don't know what the long-term effects is. We don't know what happens when you come off of it. But look, if you eat a damn carrot and some cucumbers, and you stay consistent with your carrots and your cucumbers, I'm sure that will have a better result than this other
See, eat.
man-made thing that they're creating. Like, God created there is food for us. Let's consume that, okay? That's all
Yeah.
I'll say. But that's my personal opinion. If it were, and there's different reasons why I'm not a medical professional. There's other reasons why it exists, like I think what diabetes or whatever the case may be. I
Hmm.
can't speak to that, but I will say for weight loss and weight management, we could consider the food that already exists, because it's there. But it's sometimes it's hard because you don't know where to start.
Yeah. I
So
think there's
easier
just
said than done, we know.
yeah. I think there's overwhelm, and there's just a lot of different things that people are just trying because, like you said, we want it fast.
Yeah.
And if we come to that place where, you know, you honor your body. Okay, me put on a little weight. Okay, me go try fix that. But me not go say me go try fix that for get result tomorrow or next week or next
Exact, and
month.
that's
You
the
understand?
thing, and a lot of things, I mean, and that's, as a marketing girly and an advertising girly too, like, yeah, like, of course they're gonna market it for you that way, because they want you to
Yeah.
buy the product, like
Product. Yeah.
duh. But it's like, it's nothing happens overnight. Even right now, this is a different topic, but I'm on like a hair growth journey, and I'm like, I know it's not gonna happen overnight. Like, I have to stick with it. Everything that you want to do in life, when you want to see results, you have to stick with it. Just remember that consistency doesn't mean you have to show up 100% every single day, but just
Ooh.
just keep trying. And sometimes it's about the routine over the motivation. If you might not feel like doing it, but future you is going to be so thankful that you did it. So don't, yeah, I don't feel like working out. I don't feel like going on a walk. I don't feel like cooking today, but tomorrow you going to be glad you cooked that meal.
Let me tell you, you see what I just said? That's why Carrie Ann still is podcasting today. Me stay consistent, even if 100%. I don't
That's
always want
right.
to do this episode. I don't feel like recording the episode. Not because of the guest, but remember at the beginning when we started, I was
Yes,
centering myself
you
because
got
I
things
had a
going
weird
on.
day. Yeah, I had like a weird day at work, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, right? So it is the consistency and realizing that I don't have to be 100% every time. I have to be
Exactly.
enough to say, you know what? I got to do this. And guess what? Tomorrow, me, next month, me, gonna be like, you know what? That was a good interview.
That
And look
was
how
a
you
good,
never want to do
exactly,
it.
exactly. And even like today, for example, I'm like, I'm not even feeling so well right now. Should I postpone? No, show up. And
Yeah.
look, we're having such a good time. Well, Carrie Ann, I know you have a copy of Prep and Ting.
Mhm.
What have you read? What have you tried? What have you nibbled on? I'm putting you on the spot,
I
but I would
did
love to
the
hear it.
I did try the cauliflower rice recipe
How did it turn
because
out?
it turned out good. I'm trying to think how I would have made it different. I think it was the brand itself
Ah,
that made.
you didn't make the cauliflower rice from scratch, you got it
No, no,
packet?
no. I bought
Okay.
the yeah,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think it was the brand where I was just like, the potential is there, but it was just like, But I'm glad because I'm now adding it to my rotation of
Oh,
recipes
see,
because
there
I
you
think
go.
I think what's important, as you said, in with prep and thing, is like when we're in a hurry, we make the same things, the things
Yes.
that you can easily grab and go. And there's so many things that I know to make, and I wanted to be in a place where I can now have different options
It's
and
curated for you. Yep.
variations and all these things. And I think that was very helpful to see like, oh, okay, I'm gonna
Good.
try it this way.
Good.
So this season is it as it wasn't planned, but I'm attracting a lot of food conversations
Oh, look at
on the podcast.
that. Look at
Um,
that. Because I mean, food is important for any human being, but food is such a huge part of our culture. Like, look, tomorrow, well, this won't be live when we're recording, but we're recording on the 6th, and tomorrow's Grenada's Independence. So it's like oil down will be the topic of it all. Like, food is our culture. Food and music, and
I
maybe
mean,
something else.
it's the key cultural anchors that we have. So I
It
really
is.
did enjoy, how you laid it out and
Oh,
the
I'm
different
glad.
recipes because that is what's important, the variety. Because there are moments I felt like, yo, I'm tired of food, and I
Yes, you just get fed
realized
up. You're fed up. You don't know what to make. That's what
make
it is.
yes,
You're just
yes.
fed up. And I agree. Like, even for me, up to this day, I still go back, and that's why I have it as an ebook format. So I just go back in my phone, I search it, and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Because if you're like, it's just one less thing for you to have to take on. Like, what am I cooking today? What am I gonna prep? It's just the way it's curated is designed in a way that you can rotate it. And of course, like, make it your own. Like, you might and I feel like that's a big thing I have in it too. Like, when it comes to Caribbean culture, we don't really do measurements, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, we cook with our spirit and we cook with love and we cook in a way that you just keep tasting as you go. So my biggest takeaway is like learning certain things to completely remove, and I'll say this out loud, I really want us to all avoid vegetable and canola oil and seed oils. Like, avoid it as much as we can. I feel like those three are really the killer, but other than that, like, play with your palate, play with your
Yeah.
seasonings, like season as you go, taste it. Maybe salt could go last if you're someone who's have high pressure, you're mindful of that. But other than that, I'm glad to hear it. Good, good,
Yeah,
good.
I think the other takeaway which I started to do was um where I have recipes. I've always had them. Like they're books. Like my
Yeah.
brother-in-law, not my brother-in-law, my brother was asking me for something. And I think what has happened slowly, but not realizing, is that my recipes or my, not so much recipes, my
Mm-hmm.
meal ideas weren't readily accessible,
Ah,
right? Meaning that you have to go find a book. You're upstairs and you have to go find a book downstairs or wherever, versus I need to catalog it in a way so I can look at this, something on my phone and be like, okay, so next time my husband said, babe, what we cooking for dinner? I'm like, I don't know, blah, blah. I can just say, all right, we did have that last week. So,
let's try
scroll.
this.
Maybe we should can try this. And I realized that was the issue. So I started to make a list of all the things that we've eaten, things
Nice.
that we haven't eaten in a while.
Good,
And
good.
then from there,
You pull.
it's planning, and it's also planning. Again, everything is planning what we're buying at the grocery store, buying exactly what you need, and
Yup.
so preparing. So
Plug and
that
play.
was the takeaway for me
Good,
particularly.
exactly. I agree. It definitely is a plug and play, and it's like that extra time. I know everybody like, I'm too busy. No, that extra time that you put to decide what you're going to eat for the next few days is going to save you so much more time in the long run. And then for me,
Don't
even dishes, even when I meal prep, I'm like, because I hate cooking every single day. Anybody that loves cooking every single day,
I don't. Mm-mm.
I hate having to cook every single day. So like to meal prep for a couple days is just such a relief because then I'm like, wait, I'm done for the day and I have food. I can do something else. So like that thing that you've been dying to do, whoever's listening, you've been dying to start some other creative outlet, whatever it is. I kid you not. Meal prep, it's going to give you one less thing off your to-do list so that you have time to do the other things in life. Like that
But
cooking
trust
every
me.
day, thinking, even if you're not cooking, thinking of what you need to eat every single day is just a waste of energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Trust me, we've made changes in our home that
Oh,
I guess non-traditional people might be, more traditional people might be like,
yeah.
what you talk about, Willis.
What is it?
But we've discovered that cooking on Saturday makes us a better Sunday, because
I
we
like
come
that.
home from church and we're like, all right, we're chill. Sunday
Yes,
really feels like it's restful because we now be like, okay,
yes,
we have to cook everything. Saturday already,
exactly.
you're in that zone. You run up and down. You're doing the
You
errands,
do
the
your errands.
groceries and
Yup, I
stuff.
like
So
that.
we just stay in that flow and cook. So sometimes people are like, where you going, man? Cook. We cook yesterday, so we just eat what
No,
we
we
cook
get to
for.
relax. Exactly. And you said a big thing too is like letting go of traditions. Like, yes, like, and we talked about that too. Like, some people might not want to let go of a certain recipe because it reminds them of this, it reminds them of that. But it's like, it's okay to let go of traditions when appropriate. Now, there might be times where you're going to go back and cook on a
No,
Sunday
and
because you have
yeah, we
people
like we did
over.
last week because
Or
we
it just
couldn't do that.
exactly,
Right, we had
exactly,
to
but
cook
it
on
just
the Sunday.
or you have to, exactly, but, like, life's a balance.
Yeah,
It's just a
yeah,
balance.
yeah.
Nobody's telling
It's
you that you need to go change your life and do this
yeah,
every single
no,
day, like, it don't work like that. It don't
yeah.
work like that.
We couldn't do it on the Saturday, so we did it on a Sunday, and it reminded us like, yeah, we'll go back to a Saturday thing, because by the time we were done, I'm like, Sunday was done, and by the time we sit on, it didn't feel the
I like
same
that. I
level
might
of
take some notes. Yeah.
relaxation on, for the day to get ready for the
Yeah.
week. And so it was a reminder that, yeah, we need to make sure when we can make sure that Sunday is the day that we're all resting and
You're
we are not,
resting. Yeah.
you know, hustling and bustling around the kitchen, cooking and, doing
Exactly.
all the things.
Exactly.
So it has been one of the things that I'm like, oh wow, I really enjoy. I never thought, because it was just like, all right, Sunday
You cook
dinner.
on a Sunday. I agree.
Yeah,
You cook your
but
Sunday food on a Sunday. And eat your macaroni pie, your baked
yep.
chicken, your rice, your callaloo, your this, your that. And I said, no, you could, you don't need it every Sunday. You can enjoy it, you can, but maybe you don't need it every Sunday. Maybe
Yeah. Yep. It's again, to your point, it's flexible based on what
exactly.
you have going on, but we've discovered that Saturday and setting up ourselves on Saturday to
Love
have a
that.
relaxing Sunday had a much better experience for
I love
us.
that.
And
Exactly.
so I really, enjoy that new tradition for
And that's the
ourselves.
key word
But
you said there for us too, because like I feel like we're talking as maybe traditional Monday to Friday people who have Saturday and Sunday off. Granted, everybody's not like that, but fine, like still utilizing whatever out of the days off that you have, choosing a day off to prep and then choosing a day off to rest. If you have to squeeze it in one day because you only have one day off a week, I understand
mhm,
that some people lies, but if you get those 2 days off, maybe it's not Saturday, Sunday, but you still get that 2 day off. One is to prep and one is to rest.
yeah,
Prep and prep
absolutely.
and rest. Prep and rest.
Exactly. Prep and rest. All right. So why don't you tell the people them where they can find you and all the good
Yes.
things?
All the good things. Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at Prep and Ting. So that's PREP, Prep and Ting, like Ting, Ting. If you want to find my personal page, you're more than welcome to as well. I'm Aria dot x.cm. It's a little bit more it's a little bit wordy, but if you search up Aria Collins, I'll pop up. I'm also on LinkedIn if you're curious about my more marketing side that I mentioned earlier on this call. You can find me at Aria Collins, but for the most part, Prep and Ting on Instagram will be your go-to. You could also check out my website, www.prepandting.com, if you kind of wanted to get a sense of, like, you just want to see the cookbook or you want to see what I was talking about. And I also have my story on there. So, like, if you want to check it out, go on the website, check out my Instagram, and you'll find me.
Wonderful.
Cool.
Wonderful.
This was so
And
good.
this was fun. This was
It
fun.
was fun. I can't believe it feels like I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess I did pod fade, but I felt like I met you yesterday, but it's like, no, it was 6 years ago.
6 years ago. 6 years ago. Well, as I love to tell everybody on the show, walk good. Don't fade though. Come back for the next episode. Walk
Yes,
good.
yes. Don't fade as a listener because Carrie Ann has been doing her thing, and you are definitely. We need this as a Caribbean community. We need you to keep doing your thing. So don't fade
Thank
on us.
you.
Don't fade on us.
Thank you. All
Of
right. Look,